Makeover, and it's so weird that they're going to be both going lighter and I'm the dark one now because it's usually the opposite. But Keira recently went all over dark, kind of like my hair is now, and we're in the process of taking her lighter again. So we have thrown in some lighter pieces. She obviously has this gold money piece right now, but she's wanting to brighten up all over and then obviously add Jagger! And then obviously add extensions. And then Bailey has always been like level 3, dark, dark, dark. She's gone lighter a few times in the past, but this time she's ready to do it. She's always been hesitant, but she's finally convinced herself. So we're gonna be doing a really, yeah, and Jagger's excited too. We're gonna be doing a really pretty blonde on her and adding extensions. So if you wanna see the makeover we do on both of my sisters, stay tuned. All right, you guys, so we're gonna start with mixing up Keira's color. We're gonna be doing her first. I'm gonna throw up a picture right here of what she's wanting. We are wanting to achieve a really pearly, beige, neutral kind of blonde. So she's wanting it to be really soft and natural to hopefully just kind of blend in with her natural regrowth so that she can go a little bit longer in between color services. And if you hear my baby in the background of this video, he is in his swing, just living his best life, so you know, real life. So we are gonna be using Goldwell Oxycure, one of my favorite lighteners. I love this lightener because it has a punch to it. It has a lot of lift and a lot of power, but it's not like super harsh or super drying. I feel like I still am able to get my clients to the level I want to with keeping their hair really healthy. You guys know I love Blonde Me, and I'm gonna be using that and not in this video today as well, but I am going to be using Oxycure for Keira just because we're wanting to lift her a little bit more, and I do want that power behind it. I am using it with 30 volume, and then I am going to go in with a 1/16 ounce of Olaplex to keep her hair super healthy, and we're going to be mixing that up. And I am one of those stylists that I typically like to eyeball my lightener because I go off of consistency. So I basically just kind of like pour my developer in, mix it up, and then do it again if I need to do more. And I like my lightener to be really runny. For me, I feel like if it's thick, it's hard to work with, and I actually feel like it swells a little bit easier as well. So I like it, the runnier the better. When it comes to color and toners, I of course measure, but when it comes to lightener, I always eyeball. Okay, so we are doing a full highlight on her. I am going to be starting in the back of the head at the nape, and I am going to be doing a brick lay pattern. So basically I do 2 or 3 foils in the center, and then I do 2 or 3 foils on the left, 2 or 3 on the right, and I usually angle those to match the shape of the head, and then I go back to doing 2 or 3 in the center again. I love doing this pattern on mostly everyone because everyone's head's round, everyone has a curved head, so this pattern really does work really well with most head shapes. So that's what I'm doing here. And I am just doing very fine baby lights. We did do a teasy light on her about maybe 2 months ago almost, and it was awesome to do that as a first session because we got to see how she lifted out, and she lifted really well that time. And to be honest, you know, we did do a Demi permanent on her when she went dark, so I knew it would lift pretty well, but I did not want to push the limit for the first session, which is why we did a teasy light. That's my favorite way to go about lifting a brunette, is a teasy light first because you get a better idea of how the hair is going to lift. It's more accurate, more clean, and then after that you can go in with a full highlight for the next session. So that's what we did here, and then as I'm done with the back, I am teasing out her ends. This is just going to give us pops of brighter pieces all over. And I am just using that same formula that I used for the highlights as well. And I really wanted to do this video for you guys because I did take both of my sisters dark, and one of them was Demi permanent and the other has been permanent color for years, like I had said in the intro. So I wanted to show you guys the difference between how someone with Demi lifts versus how someone with permanent lifts. I feel like clients get kind of confused between the difference and they don't quite understand the pros and cons of Demi versus permanent color. So I thought this video would be really interesting for you guys
guys to see the different techniques I do for lifting out Demi versus permanent, and then also the difference in how they lift. So I am now to the front, and I am just going to be going on an angle following the curve of the head, and I am doing just a fine highlight right here. I'm not doing any slices. I'm just going to be doing baby lights following up the shape of the head, kind of like I did in the back, and then I will tease out the dropouts as well.
You feel so far away, though you're close. Where's your mind at? I wanna know.
All right, and something different with Keira's hair is you can see that I have her bang section just kept out of foils. I actually coated all of her bangs in Olaplex, and we are not going to be touching them. You guys saw that she had a pretty heavy money piece already. We did that about 2 weeks ago, so we do not want to put any more lightener on that. So I basically coated them in Olaplex to give them a treatment, and we are leaving them out of foils completely. We will just tone them down when we tone everything.
You feel so far away, though you're close. Where's your mind at? I wanna know.
All right, guys, so we always joke that Keira and Bay might as well just do hair because they've been around it since me and my mom have done it forever. They work here. They pretty much know everything, but they just don't know how to actually apply things. So I am going to have each of them do a foil on each other to see if they naturally pick it up and see if it's really in the blood. So I'm gonna teach Bailey how to do a foil, and then she's gonna try to do one on Keira. Okay, so the key to doing baby lights, which is what we're doing on her, is very fine sections, because the finer the section, the better the hair's gonna lift. So I'm taking my comb and carving out just like a really thin section like this. You wanna make sure it's pretty clean. Then what you're gonna do is pull it out and you hold tension on it, and then you're gonna take your comb, and I always like to think of it like I'm drawing little U's just constantly back to back. So I'm going like this and just drawing those U's over the whole top, and that gives you your section. Then you're gonna grab a foil, and you're gonna put your comb right here and create like a little lip, and then you stick it under, hold tight like that. And then I always like to apply mids to ends first. And then you really just like want to saturate. So if you kind of do like X formations like that, it helps. And then I go up and do the top so there's not too much product up there, because if you put too much up there, that's what causes tiger stripes. Okay. Then you fold halfway once, and then you go above, and see how I'm not going exactly, I'm going a little above like this. That way when I lift up, I can tighten that little lip, and it's perfect.
Okay.
All right, guys, don't eat her apart. She's never done this.
I haven't. This is scary.
I remember the first time I did this, like it feels so boring.
I like don't. You're too.
Oh. Oh my gosh, Bailey. You can't even draw a straight line. Like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that's perfect.
No, it's not.
Okay, so now you just kind of section off that. So like clean up, like draw like from here over to clean that up.
I did good on half of it.
Yeah, you did. Good job.
You make it look so easy.
I love doing
so
this for
fast.
people who've never done it, because like you think hair's so easy, but I'm like, no, it really is like an art.
Okay, and then the U's.
Okay, so then you're gonna draw the little U's. Good job. Slow and steady wins the race.
This is difficult.
It's harder than it looks.
I think I'm watching it.
No, you're actually doing really good. And we'll just go to the end of this section. Perfect. And it's usually easier if you, go like that and then pull up. There you go. Okay, so you have a little bit missing right there. So what you can do is grab, like do the little U's in that missing spot and bring them up. Perfect. And then you'll do that little lip at the bottom.
At the bottom?
Yeah, well, that's actually how I do it. So you just do like, put your comb like right here, and then you just flip the foil over it.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm so uncoordinated. Wow.
So funny. Good job, and then pull tight. Oh, good, yeah.
Like that?
And I usually hold it right here and pull tight.
Okay.
And then just
And
kind of
then
keep
slide
your,
it out.
yep, there you go. And now you'll apply. And you'll want to put a lot on so that you can actually saturate. Yeah, there you go. And then start mids to ends. That's the hardest part, is keeping the foil, like, yeah.
Keira, you're gonna do a lot.
And then you really want to, like, when you're doing it, like, apply pressure, and that's going to help the foil stay in place. So don't be scared. Like, you can go in and, like, yeah, there you go. Perfect. And then you'll want to saturate all right here too.
Keira's not staying out like I wanted to.
There you go. And like, don't feel like afraid. Like, see how that's not saturated? Yeah, there you go. Like, push the pressure in there. There you go.
Like I'm hurting you.
I've always said, if you're foiling someone and it hurts them, that means you're doing a good job. Really? Perfect. Then you're folding up halfway. So yeah, perfect. And then above, and then you're gonna take this and flip it up to tighten that little lip underneath. Good job. That was pretty good for your first one.
It's hard, huh?
It's so much harder than you think it's gonna be.
Is that too thin?
Nope. I would clean it up though, so it's like a straight line. I am dying that both of you can draw a straight line. It's hard. That's how Keira's her face look too. No. Oh wait, I guess you could do that. No, you're right. No, so this was the section that you're gonna go under.
Wait, what?
So like you weave it and then you put it under what you weave. That's like the leave outs.
Oh,
That's like when you put that up, I was like, wait, but you know what? This is actually a good section, so highlight off of that and then do it. So like, go like this and like do your weave again on that section.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll put this in.
I always thought it was the bottom.
Oh, how funny. No.
I never thought that. I always knew it was the top.
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, so you separate it. Try again. This is amazing. Perfect. No. I thought literally just grab the whole section. So like take what you weave out and grab it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh my god.
Like I'm trying to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so don't do it towards the end. Do it like, yeah, there you go. There you go. Here you go. I thought you were gonna be a natural, I'll be honest.
No, I told you to everyone from day one I would never be a natural.
Oh,
Now I don't even know what to do. I'm having an issue with this what one I want to use.
hand, yeah, I get that.
Like, I want to brush with my right, but I also want to hold this with my right. Like, my left isn't cool.
So you can like get the comb out, but like keep this. And then, yeah, there you go.
Why can't I keep the comb there?
Because it'll fall.
But that's what would hold my foil up.
Okay, so that's fine.
I feel like that's what I would be comfortable
Okay,
with.
that's fine.
No, that was perfect.
That was so good.
No, this is great. How clean.
How clean. Okay, so you'll want to saturate a little more on the root area.
But look, that holds it.
Yeah, but I can't believe Bailey did better than Keira.
I don't know why everyone thought she would. My lip's gone. There it is.
I think it's because you had your full one.
Crap.
Woo! You did it! All right, guys, so we are now at our toning station. So we have washed her out. She has Olaplex on her mids to ends, and we are now going to start with a root tap. So for someone like her, the goal that she's going for, it's not necessarily like a rooted, lived-in color with pops of brighter blonde. It's honestly more of like a natural blonde all over. The picture she showed me, we're pretty sure that that's the girl's actual natural color. And when it comes to trying to mimic that, it can be really tricky. Obviously, because we are working with dimensional tones in her hair and she's going from darker to lighter, we're just going to try to get the closest result that we can to that photo.
And because of that, I'm not wanting to do like a drastic root or a drastic money piece or anything like that. I'm basically gonna be trying to match up her roots to her ends so it looks like a really pretty natural beige, kind of goldeny blonde almost. So what we're doing is we are going to be using Goldwell Colorants, and we have mixed up 7N, 8N, 7NA. And I'm using this small from our brush because we're just barely tapping. So what I'm gonna do is I am just going to start by tapping everything like this. And I always like to go around the perimeter first and then go into the interior of the hair. And I have her parted where she normally parts and then divided into 2 sections. So I'm gonna do this side first and then go to the other side. So then I'll lift her hair up and do the same thing under here, around that interior. And then since we're not necessarily doing a bold money piece and we're just doing a slight tap everywhere, I'm gonna go through and do that hairline and money piece area right now because it's gonna be the same look as everywhere else for the most part. And it's such a gentle tap too that we're not bringing it down, so it's not gonna do much. It's easiest to have your client look down when you're doing the nape since the head kind of curves up. And the biggest key when doing something like this is just making sure that you have really small sections. And when I do a tap like this, sometimes I even like to brush my brush backwards like that so it distributes the product, but I'm not dragging it down too far. So that's what I'm doing as I work my way up right here. And she lifted really cleanly and really evenly, which is amazing. And that's why when I take blondes dark, I always use Demi's, because then when they want to go lighter again, it's a really easy process. We did a highlight on her last time, but we did more of like a teasy light just to see how her hair would lift, because I didn't want to push the limits on her, and it lifted so good. So this time we did a highlight, and now we're basically going to be where she wants to be, and it's because we used Demi. If I had used permanent on her, it would be a whole different story. We probably would have had to do multiple sessions or a color remover, and you guys will see what I mean when I rinse out my next sister, because she has years of permanent color on her hair, and hers is going to be a little different when we tone. But because she lifted so clean and evenly, we're able to just get away with doing this root tap and then toning everything. Whereas with my other sister, we're probably gonna have to do a root, a mids, and an end to even everything up. And then I'm just kind of working my way around the head shape as I get higher. And when you're doing a tap, you wanna make sure that you have enough product on your brush to saturate, but you don't wanna have so much that it's gonna bring it down too far. So you just kind of have to make sure that you're doing that correctly. And then a big thing I see with people that are new and that are like, you know, new to toning and new to application and everything is a lot of people get really scared when it comes to toning because they don't want to do too much or distribute the product too much. So I'll see a lot of this. And that's not gonna do much. You really gotta saturate. So I'm like pushing into her head as I do this. And obviously I'm not trying to hurt her, but you really do wanna give that saturation a good chance to get in there. And the only way to do that is to put a little bit of pressure on your brush and just go in with confidence like that. Because if you go in too light-handed, it's not gonna cover and it's gonna look splotchy. And that's when lines are so noticeable, and that's when it just doesn't look even. So you just wanna make sure that you're just going in and doing what you know needs to be done. And then I'm gonna be working my way back up to the top of the head right here. And then I did miss some of the front since I was transitioning up this way. So now what I'll do is just section off the front and grab any pieces that I missed. And I did a 7/8 here in the root area because her natural is a 7, so it's gonna blend really well. But also the result we're going for is like honestly a perfect level 8. The picture has different areas that have a level 7, some are a 9, but overall I would say it's like a true 8. So that's what I'm doing here on her too, because then if the root is a 7/8 and the ends are an 8/9, everything's just gonna transition so seamlessly. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my blending comb and I'm just combing everything together. Keep in mind we have that Olaplex on her ends, so It's all protected. I'm not dragging any product down. And you guys have probably seen me do that in every video I've ever done because it's such a genius tip. It protects your ends, but at the same time, it gives your clients a treatment so their hair is getting healthier while you're doing the root application. So that's always a plus. And I did tap her front with everything, but as you can see right here, you guys, I left it a teeny bit brighter right there just because I do want her to have a money piece still. I just don't want it to be like super chunky. So I tapped it, but you can tell that there's less product right there, and that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so since we're kind of going for this similar tone all over, I'm actually gonna be doing her toner at the same time before I move on to the next side. And that's gonna give a chance for the root area and the ends to all blend together so it just looks really seamless. So what I'm using here is Redken Shades EQ, and we have mixed up 9NB, 8N, 8V, 8GI. We did an ounce of the 9NB, an ounce of the 8N, and then half an ounce of 8V, half an ounce of 8GI, equal parts with processing solution. And like I said, I wanted that root area to be like a level 7, 8, and then this end area is going to be an 8, 9. So it's gonna be a really seamless, gradual transition. So I am just going to be putting this on mids to ends, working it all together, and you can see that since I'm doing small sections, I'm able to fully saturate everything within that section, and then I can take my fingers like this and really work it into each other so that it's fully saturated. Because I think the biggest problem with toning too is that it's really easy to miss sections, and a lot of times I will do the root smudge while they're sitting up, and then I'll do the toner when they're back in the bowl, and that's fine, and I still do it quite often, but I'm super happy we have this toning station now because I actually think it's more accurate to tone this way because I'm able to see each section and give it the attention it needs. So this is super helpful when you're doing like a mids and ends toner, but it's also helpful if you're just doing a root tap and tone. So I'm happy about this because I can actually see what the hair's doing. And I do still have the Olaplex on the mids to ends, and the reason I left it on is because it kind of creates a barrier so that as this toner's processing, it slows it down a little bit, which is exactly what I want because I'm still gonna have to do the other side. So now this toner won't over process while I'm doing that, and it gives it a chance to really soak in. And honestly, the longer you leave your toner on, the better, because that's how long it will last. I don't know exactly how true this is, but I've always heard that Redken Shades is a minute per wash. So for example, if you leave your toner on for 5 minutes, they're gonna get 5 washes before it starts fading out. So the longer the better, honestly, if that's true, because then they're gonna get more longevity out of their toner. And you just have to be careful with shades, make sure you watch it. If this was like an icy blonde we were doing, it would definitely take a lot quicker because of the purple tones. But since we're doing like a really neutral beige color, I feel like I'm more comfortable leaving it on longer because it's not gonna go like too ashy or anything like that. So once this is on, I'm actually gonna take our multi-use brush. This is a metal bristle brush, and it's awesome for doing stuff like this at the bowl or when the hair's wet. So basically it is going to comb that root and the end toner all together. And then it's gonna just give us that nice transition. And I also love using this brush for brushing out teasy lights. And I did tease some of her ends, and you can see that this is brushing out really nicely. So we're gonna let that sit while I do the other side, and we'll just kind of periodically be checking on it to make sure it doesn't over process. We are doing tape-in extensions on her in the colors the Mariah, the Desmond, and the Mary Kate. This is just gonna give us that perfect pearly blonde with a little bit of depth.
For your thought, I wanna know what's inside that heart of yours. Ooh, I feel paper thin. Ooh, when will you let me in? Do you let anyone get under your skin? You play it cool, but underneath I know you're hiding something. Do you let anyone get under your
All right guys, so for Bailey, we're gonna be doing 2 different formulas. So we're gonna actually be using Swatchcock Blonde Me for some of her hair. And the reason is this lightener lifts really well, but it's also a little more gentle. So I'm actually gonna be using this with 7 volume around her hairline. because I do not want to break her hairline off. Those hairs are more fragile, but we do want to lift them out. So I'm going to do that first with 7 volume, and then we're going to do the rest of her hair with Goldwell Oxycure 30 volume and Olaplex to bump it up a little bit.
All right, so for Bailey's hair, we're gonna be doing a full highlight as well, but she does want a really thick money piece. So I am going to be slicing the entire hairline. So I like to use a board when I'm doing this to give me a really sturdy base, and it's also going to just give me a lot of support as I stack these foils in. So I am going to just be doing back-to-back slicing in this area that I have carved out, and then after that, we're gonna transition into highlighting. All right, so you guys can see how many foils I'm stacking in this area that I have parted off. Everything that's in this section and the section to the left is gonna be slicing, and that's why I did the 7 volume for the hairline, because I do not wanna push the limit and go too far, and also these hairs are more fragile, so they probably will lift quicker, especially since I'm starting in the front. So on Keira, I started in the back, but on her, I'm starting in the front because I did wanna focus on this hairline. So I would just do a squirt bottle if these were done processing and pull them out before everything else is done.
Would you let me get to know you, boy? You feel so far away, though you're close. Where's your heart? I don't wanna know. A penny for your thoughts. Inside the heart of you. Ooh, I feel paper thin. Ooh, when will you let me in? Do you let anyone get under your skin? You play it cool, but underneath I know you're hiding something. Do you let anyone get under your skin? I just wanna get to know you, so would you let me get to know you, boy? Would you let me get to know?
I am doing a Mohawk section on her because I really just want to stack these foils in there. Even though her goal isn't like platinum blonde or anything like that, since she's had this dark in her hair for so many years, I really just want to start with a clean canvas and lift as much out as I can, because she does have darker sections in there from her previous color, and she also has some brassiness in there from the first highlight we did. So doing this is just going to ensure that I'm lifting everything out so that I can go back in and add the tones that I want to. So I did all of that Mohawk section back, and then I'm also going to tease out ends just like I did on Keira, especially because some of those pieces that are left out are pretty brassy, and so this is going to help us just kick out that color even more. And the thinner the better with these sections, especially when you're lifting out dark color, because you're going to get a lot of banding and a lot of orange tones, and if you have too thick of a section, it's going to be so much harder. So tiny baby lights is the way to go. I know we're still going to have warmth in there, and we probably will need to do another session just to completely even things out, but that's what happens when you have permanent color on your hair. So I'm excited for you guys to see the difference in how she lifted versus Keira, because Keira's was very clean, she lifted great, and then Bailey obviously lifted a little bit warmer, and she still has those darker sections in there.
Okay guys, so we have Bailey all rinsed out. You can see that she actually did lift pretty well, but it is different than Keira's because she had permanent color. So it's kind of cool to see the difference between lifting out Demi and lifting out permanent. So I am taking Redken Shades EQ, and I have mixed up 6N, 7N, and then a little bit of 7NA. And we did that equal parts of processing solution. And with her, we want to do a little more of a rooted look. The reason I did like a full highlight was I just kind of wanted to get a clean canvas to work off of and try to strip out as much of that dark color that I could. But we didn't obviously want her to be like white blonde. We still want her to be like a rooted bronzy color. So I'm taking this formula and I'm going in and I'm just kind of shadowing down a couple of inches in the back, and then obviously we will go higher up around the face. She does want a pretty bold money piece, so the contrast of this root smudge against the front is going to be beautiful, and I'm not going to touch any of the front
pretty much it all. I'm gonna kind of just leave it. I may tap it right at the very end, but for the most part, I wanna keep it pretty bright. So I'm just making sure that as I'm doing this, I'm keeping that section out. So all of this pretty much I'm just gonna comb forward so that I'm not touching it. And then I always like to comb as I go just to ensure that everything's blending good and everything's saturated properly. And I am using the small Goldwell brush to do this. And whenever I do any type of like root smudge or root shadow or even a root tap, I always work on diagonals to follow the shape of the head. And then once everything is covered, I usually cross check, and I'll do that in a minute so you guys can see, because saturation is so important when it comes to techniques like this. So then now that that's all saturated, I'm gonna go through and on an angle on this side, I'm just gonna cross check, making sure everything looks really good. And then combing. And then since we are leaving that front area out, I'm gonna comb all of this back so that it doesn't touch that. And there is Olaplex on her mids to ends and her bang area, so those are all getting a treatment while this is processing. So I'm gonna do the same thing on that side. We'll let it sit about 15 minutes and then we're gonna tone everything else. I brought her over to the bowl to tone, and what I did is I toned everything except for the hairline first, so that's all sitting in the toner, and now I am applying it to the money pieces. And the toner I used is 9NB, 7NB to create an 8NB, and then we did a little bit of 7P, 9P, 8GI, and 8B. When you're doing a color correction like this, it's best to mix all of these toners together just so that you can counteract every tone that you get through lifting. Obviously, she did lift a little bit warmer, but she did lift better than I thought she would, so that was awesome. We are doing a few different colors of tape-ins on Bailey. We are doing the Kendra, the Desmond, the Freddie, and the Jagger. Those are two shades that have a little more dark throughout them, and then two shades that are a little bit lighter. And this is gonna give her like the perfect bronzy tone with pops of brighter blonde. I love using tape-ins and mixing and matching colors because it gives you a really custom result. And it's the same way with half bags of wefts too. If I was doing wefts on her, I'd probably do like 4 different half bag colors in different shades. And that's just the variety you get with Jay-Z styles, which is awesome. We have so many shades and I love it. I hope you guys learned something from this video. Let me know if you did in the comments below, and let me know what you think of each of my sister's hair.
Would you let me get to know you, boy? Would you let me get to know you, boy? Would you let me get to know you? Ooh, I feel paper thin.